You know, we want every Doom game to stand on its own as a unique experience. So in 2016, we asked you to run and gun. In Doom Eternal, it was jump and shoot. And in Doom the Dark Ages, you're gonna stand and fight.
Welcome to Between the Joysticks. Press start and then we're off. Nick and John, they've got the sauce. Breaking news and some hot takes. Even if there's some mistakes, Nick is captaining the ship, while John gives thoughts straight from the hip. But when their powers combine, we're all in for a hell of a time. Between the Joysticks, it's the best. Up to 6 things they will address. Tell all your friends and settle in. Between the Joysticks now begins.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 128 of the video game podcast Between the Joysticks. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm joined by my co-host, John. John, it's another week and another podcast.
Sure is.
Is there anything you want to talk about? What should we talk about in this lead-in? I'm going to leave it open.
Well, I got the garlic burps going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so I have to deal with that.
Yep, that's exclusively your problem right now.
Listeners are spared.
But, it definitely is something we have to share with the audience. No, I mean, I would say for listeners, I have seemingly kicked my I can't play video games thing, which is very nice to see. I'm never going to bring this game to the show to talk about, so actually this is probably a perfect thing.
Unless you platinum it.
Unless if I platinum it, which I'm going to platinum it. But going through one of my probably, I don't know if it's a top 10er, but it's in that realm, but Hollow Knight. A game I've only beaten once, and so I just had some time over the weekend, and just had the loop satisfy me enough of the controlling and the getting the upgrades and exploring places I haven't gotten to yet, and then realized that my skills seem to be way better than they were the last time I played it. So I'm like, I'm going to go for the platinum, which has one of the scariest trophies to me for games I'm aware of, at least. Like, I know Super Meat Boy has these tough trophies and whatnot, but like as somebody who knows this game intimately, you have to basically beat, I think it's over 40 bosses in a row.
Yep.
And it's going to be frustrating, not from a 40 bosses standpoint, because I would imagine I'm going to get 30 of those bosses down to a T. And there's going to be these little ones that are going to pop up and like, okay, number 34 is coming, number 26 is coming, or whoever it is.
I'm sure you got that way with Neon White. It was like, oh, this level's here.
I did, but Neon White was nice because I could randomize the levels. So I never, it kept it fresh, right? Because I could I'm playing this late level now, or I'm playing this. I'm not just replaying levels 1 through 6.
I gotcha. I guess I don't think I ever knew that.
Yeah, so you can shuffle them, which
that helps a lot, especially with you doing it repetitively.
Because level 1 you can't lose. Level 2 it takes 4 seconds. Like I would hate to have to. I probably wouldn't have done that if I had to stick it out that way. But
interesting idea.
So happy to report that I've been doing that, and I'll save a couple other games that I'm hoping to follow up with for the teases at the end of the show. But I'm back, baby. Or I'm trying to stay back.
I just want you to see a game through, okay?
Yeah, it won't happen.
Okay.
I'm going to move on to something else. Bioshock, sorry. We'll get back.
All right. Well, I don't have anything right now. I mean, unless we want to talk about Marvel Rivals, but I'll spare you.
I don't know.
This
Did you get any emails from anybody? You going to smack me across the face with one right now?
No, I don't have any email about it.
Sorry, this was a little aggressive.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Like I was hiding it.
Yeah. You hide everything.
Yeah. No tricks up my sleeve today. Just a standard episode with quite a bit of news coming out. So
and the Xbox chums. So when I never expect it is when it always happens. So
I mean, how can you do an Xbox chums podcast when Xbox is publishing on your platform of choice now?
That's true, but if there was a time to do one, it might be this one.
Right, that's true. That's very true.
I think about it.
Well, we'll see. Let's get into the show so we can talk about that big Xbox Developer Direct.
Garlic burp. Sorry.
This is how the show works. John and I both can bring up to 3 things to talk about for a total of 6 things. That can be an email from the listeners at betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com, a Twitter DM at joystickspod, or a comment on our YouTube page at Between the Joysticks. But it can also be a game we're playing, like a Hollow Knight. It can be a topic.
Is that a spin-off to Like a Dragon?
Yeah. And it can also be a news item, and it's going to be a heavy news episode because as we teased and tried to predict last week, the Xbox Developer Direct 25 has come and gone. We got to look at 4.5 games at that thing. And let's kind of reverse things. Let's get your thoughts, John. Overall, we knew going into it we would see Expedition 33, Doom: The Dark Ages, and South of Midnight, and a fourth mystery game that we incorrectly predicted. But
nobody would have predicted that.
no,
Nobody.
as we'll get into. But what are your thoughts? This is the third one we've had. They've done one every year since 2023. And what are your overall thoughts of this, showcase?
I mean, I will never compare this to the big showcases that we get, any E3s, PSXs, anything like that. But for a tight, this is what we're doing thing, A+,
Okay.
like an A. I mean, we got extended gameplay looks, we got dates, we got surprises, and every single game that they showed has the potential to be a banger. Right. So, it's hard for me to find any faults in this. I mean, specifically Doom and Expedition 33 look really good. South of Midnight has potential. I worry a little bit about some of the gameplay, but just on it drips environment, it drips, the Southern Gothic vibes that they're going for. And then, did you say what the fourth game is?
You can go ahead and say what it is.
And then the surprise game, which is we found out was Ninja Gaiden 4, brought it to a close, or they might have even led with that one.
They did.
They did lead with that
one.
So they opened up with that and just got everybody excited. A familiar franchise that is definitely not pulling anything away from the fast-paced combat that series is known for. It was kind of like the Dark Souls before Dark Souls existed, of just these games are hard as nails, but they're really, really well done. So I think this is a great year for Xbox to say we're going to put all these things on PlayStation, because if Doom: The Dark Ages was not coming, I would be mad I sold my Xbox.
Yeah,
and so
we'll talk about that for sure.
Yeah, but feeling good about it, man. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, everything you said is correct. I mean,
fuck yeah, it is.
Four games just tightly shown, and a I don't remember how long it was, but it was 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's always great to see actual developers talk about their games, because you kind of build on that excitement. When the especially the Doom, the id Software one, when they walked into that room and all the developers were there just saying the date for the game, you feel that energy. You feel like they're excited for you to experience their game, and this is the perfect way to showcase it. Did look a little weird. You can tell there was some teleprompter reading, and some goofy, awkward.
These are awkward tech people. Nick.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not.
I know
they're not comfortable in front of a camera usually.
So I'm with you. This is an A presentation, and as far as our Twitter poll, 60% A, 21% B, 4% C, 13% D. So majority of people.
13% trolls.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
What do you want?
What do you want? I mean, the fact that it's 60A, it's good job. You pleased the internet.
Right.
Well done.
Yeah, and as we go into these things, like I always say, is you want one or two games that you're like, hell or fuck yeah, I want to play that.
I want to play all four.
And when you're going 4 for 4, that's phenomenal. That's
another nice
impossible
thing too is just the sequence of it. It's April 8th for South of Midnight, April 24th for Expedition 33, May 15th for Doom. Even though Expedition 33 isn't a first-party game, it's holy shit, did they figure out how to run their portfolio? Did they do it at the, I don't know, it's not the wrong time, but you guys probably should have done this a couple years ago.
Yeah, we can get into that too, that, it's a little stacked this year. I mean, we're not talking even Avowed in February, and then there are other games as well that, it seems like, as this drought of Xbox and Game Pass games has occurred for the last few years, that if they're finally all hitting at once is nice for sure.
I wonder if there's anything to do too with the idea that it's because they internally shifted their goals of we're not competing on a console standpoint. We just want to make money on. It's that was the genesis of look, this is ready to go. This is ready to go. This is ready to go. We're gonna wait till the fall to slot it to continue pushing sales, but it doesn't matter now. Just get it out and let's just get this train rolling.
Right. Let's get into the individual announcements. As we mentioned, it led with Ninja Gaiden 4 from Team Ninja, Koei Tecmo, and Platinum Games. If you're not familiar, this is continuing what we're going to refer to as the Year of Dreams that started at the Game
that's
Awards.
copyrighted, dude.
Well, Year of Dreams, the second wave, whatever
Sure,
it is.
sure.
As we saw with the Game Awards and Onimusha and Okami coming back, now we have another dormant franchise, Ninja Gaiden, coming back. And if you're not familiar, this was... are you familiar with Tobunobu Itagaki, who made... He's an interesting Japanese guy.
No. Dude, all Japanese guys are interesting. What do you mean?
yeah, they all are.
Nidagaki? Is that what you said?
Itagaki.
Itagaki. Okay.
But Ninja Gaiden is a 3D action game.
Look up his picture, guys, if you want. You'll get the vibe.
The series is a 3D action game. Devil May Cry is a very good comparison, but with a focus on ninja-esque action for both combat and traversal. That means, wall running, acrobatics, fast and quick combat. And just like Devil May Cry, you get a bunch of different weapon types, and you get the use of spells such as fireball, ice storms, lightning, and the game is very violent. As we see in this trailer for Ninja Gaiden 4, they didn't tone that part down. But where's this franchise been? It's been a while. Ninja Gaiden originally released on the original Xbox in 2004, sitting at a 91 on Metacritic. Ninja Gaiden 2.
I feel like you're about to answer your question, but keep going.
Yeah, I am. 2008, Xbox 360 in 81. So we're trending downwards.
Great,
and then
okay.
Ninja Gaiden 3, 2012, PS3 360, 58.
Yeah, what happened?
Team Ninja kind of slipped out of relevancy for quite a while.
Yeah. Did that third one have anything to do? Like, did they try to get clever and cute with the PlayStation Move? Because I'm just looking at the box art and they're like PlayStation Move compatible, and like it came out in that time where like motion controls and things were so cool, I guess. But I wonder.
I just think it was a bad game. Itagaki left before this game, so he did not work on this one. So it was the one without him, of course. And then I just think it was a bad game. John, have you played any of these games?
I played Ninja Gaiden Sigma, which was, I think, a remake of Black.
Yeah,
it
was the second remake of the original Ninja
it's hard to
Gaiden.
keep track, but no, it was literally the very first game I bought for my PS3. The PS3 was the first console I was able to buy with my own money. I somehow convinced my sister, who's 16 months older than me, so anybody with a close sibling knows that growing up with somebody that close in age usually results in fighting, which it did, but I was able to convince her to give me the extra $150 I needed to get my PS3, and I paid her back, of course, but I got that game and the orange box, and I never beat Ninja Gaiden Sigma. I think it didn't frustrate me that much, though. I think because I had to have been 17 or 18. I was just excited to be playing a game as pretty as that.
Right.
But, for the comparison you made to Devil May Cry, absolutely the proper game to compare to, that and Bayonetta. But this one is faster than those, for sure. It's blisteringly fast to the point where I get... I'm looking at the gameplay and it looks great and I want to play it. I hope that the hardness is in the right places. That's what she said. And they were saying good things though, like, Nier Automata influenced and things like that. But I never played past that first one because, that's all I did.
Yeah, I played and completed the first two games, and they are extremely good, as John mentioned. Yeah, just the fastest combat, great boss fights. Ninja Gaiden, the original in particular, because it had that kind of that stuff you saw in like later in Souls games, the Dark Souls games, where you had an environment and you would find shortcuts to get back to the original environment. You're just kind of exploring an area,
and you get to your boss and you get your shit canned 15 times.
Yeah,
and you finally get him. And you go, fuck it.
and then having that release when you finally actually defeat that.
That's also what she said.
Yeah. that boss that was a brick wall for you, but so they led things off with Ninja Gaiden 4, and interesting enough, I don't know if you noticed, John, this is an Xbox Games published Ninja Gaiden 4.
Okay. No, I didn't.
Yeah, so they led in with that. So that was the first image you saw until you saw the Team Ninja logo.
Well, they're going all in on publishing, baby.
Yeah. So this everything in the show was a Game Pass game. So this is a Game Pass game as well. And yeah, they kind of showed off the series or the sequel in a pretty lengthy trailer. New protagonists, and it looks to be a dual narrative. You're going to play as God, what's his name?
Ryo Hayabusa?
Yeah. Ryu Hayabusa, the original protagonist of the original 3, but also with this younger character. Looks a lot like Devil May Cry 4, to be honest.
Yep.
Like a similar vibe character, the similar moveset, but
It's the Karate Kid, Sensei and Padawan
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't know.
yeah.
I think
Well, it looks like he's going after Ryu, so there's that narrative.
the young buck in the.
Yeah, which we've seen like in Halo 5, where the guy was going after.
What
Master
a poll!
Chief.
You played Halo 5? Mm-hmm. Okay.
But what obviously what drew me to this is its cyberpunk aesthetic.
Yep.
There's some great visuals in this, some great art direction. It looks
Lots of
great.
neon.
A lot of it looks like sweet finisher moves where the camera turns black and white and just lots of blood. This looked really impressive for like just your first showing of a game, and just seeing what it's all about is just like, wow, yeah, they're obviously learning a lot, and Platinum's involved, and we know Platinum, when they can hit
Yep.
really hard, and
when they miss really hard too. And this does not.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine, based on the 3 minutes we've seen, this missing. Like,
no,
you just get a
no.
feeling.
Yeah, what was that launch PS5 game that they did? That bombed really hard.
Godfall?
Yeah.
Was that Platinum? No, was that Platinum? No,
Yeah.
Babylon's Fall.
Babylon's Fall. there you
Babylon's
go.
Fall. Yeah.
That bombed hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah, from the footage we see here, just does not look to be the case, and they say it's going to come this year, which is even wilder. But do you have any more to say about this game, John?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. What's your interest level on this?
This is not a day one purchase, but it will be one if it scores above an 84, which I'm pretty sure it will. Something like that. And I'm not saying 84 exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I will get it at some point. Like, it's I can't ignore you. Okay, let me just try it out and see if I love you or if it's something, but at least I'm sure one of us will buy it and we'll share with another. But it's not a day one purchase, but it'll be something that'll be hard to ignore for sure.
Yeah, I would.
It'll depend when it comes out.
Yeah,
kind of
it
stuff.
comes out in reviews, of course, but yeah, falls into that. I would like to play it kind of game if it can review well.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, I really like Devil May Cry. Bayonetta 2 was really good. I mean, I like Nier Automata. Everybody knows how I feel about that. So,
Yeah.
like, these are, if done well, my kind of games, and it will.
Japanese games haven't failed lately. Look at Dynasty Warriors Origins,
dude,
in
Japanese-
82.
Japan has officially clawed their way out of like their 2010s like downturn,
Right.
and they're coming back stronger than ever. And I could have maybe talked about this at the top of the show. PlayStation just named Hiroki Totoki got promoted to like head of, I don't know, all of Sony or whatever, and then they announced another CEO, another Japanese dude, and I love that. I think that's just like where the brand belongs, and if we can keep greenlighting cool projects like this, yeah, let's Japanese stuff's always dope. It's just always dope.
Yeah, and and again, yeah, we talked about our most anticipated games. This was not on that, obviously not on our radar, and now here it is.
Yeah.
This year continues to be, has the potential to be even bigger now.
Feels like a late August, September game to me. I don't know. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It'll find a spot.
Yeah, fill in the.
But not to be done, there was also a side announcement to this that Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is out now. You can play the remake of the original Ninja Gaiden 2, but with updated features and all that, more playable characters. It's out there. It's $50. Seems a little pricey.
Yeah, but it'll drop. They just want the people that they want to capture those nostalgia people and be like, you're going to buy this no matter what because you love this game. And then after 2 months,
then who doesn't love the "it's out now"
It's true.
Stick that is.
Why did they go with the second one though? Like, I don't know. Wouldn't you want to play the first one?
No, I think people had said that the first one is like out there in multiple forms. Like you can play it in other collections and stuff like that. So
Okay.
no. I know, obviously, we couldn't have predicted this, but a cool, great announcement, and what a way to start it. Like, you start the show with your surprise announcement. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
Shows confidence.
Then we moved on to South of Midnight from Compulsion Games. We got an extended story and gameplay look at the game. It is coming, as John mentioned, April 8th of this year, so it's coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
This will be the only game of the showcase that will not be jumping to the other console yet. This was just listed for Game Pass and Xbox. It is a $40 game.
Oh, I did not know that.
Okay, yeah. So I know, John, you briefly talked about it in your overview about the combat and the story. I think you're dead on. I mean, you cannot argue with the art direction here, but what was it about the combat that soured you a little bit?
It seems like it's not reaching for the stars in any kind of way, and I know that's an easy complaint to kind of just throw out something.
Did you play Ken of Bridge of Spirits at all?
I didn't, no.
Okay, yeah, it has the same kind of feel. It looks stiff.
Yeah, it just seems like, okay, here's the enemies, light attack, heavy attack, spell, light attack, heavy attack, spell, or whatever the sequence is, and that's fine.
And especially when it's coming off that Ninja Gaiden trailer, where the combat looks like quite different and quite a little more depth there. Here, it's slower.
It definitely seems like it's all kind of arena based, which I'm getting a little over. We're not going to talk about Avowed today because we're not bringing it. It wasn't at this, but like they've been showing off some gameplay of that, and it just stumbling across enemies in the world just feels so much better than like. I'm watching the trailer right now, and she like uses her grappling hook to like a different place across the water, and then as soon as she lands, the place gets surrounded by like this bramble, and she's in a circle, and then she's got to fight a couple. It's just that it feels a very antiquated kind of style, and she's kind of just doing you got your standard health bar above the enemy, attack, and then once you get it down, you do a finisher, and they go away. That can be fine if everything else of the game stands out exceptionally well, and like you said, the art direction is no concerns. That's not going to be an issue. The story could easily land. I just hope it's not like...
It's kind of a Alice in Wonderland. It looks like your mom gets taken away in a hurricane. You're going to get lost, and then you're going to be in this Louisiana Wonderland.
Yeah, it's these folk tales. Yeah, folk tales. I would imagine they're probably somehow tied to different things in Louisiana, whether they're urban myths or whatever the case.
Right.
And that's great. I don't know. It's definitely the least exciting one. But I mean, I'm watching the trailer now. Like the traversal seems good. I wonder if this game's going to get hit for wokeness or not. I know. I don't even hate having to talk about that.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it probably will. But like, dude, just watching this crazy big turtle alligator thing. Catfish thing, all these other crazy big things, they're all cool. So,
yeah, no, it looks great. Being wary of the combat, being wary of, I mean, it is Compulsion, who is not proven as of yet to be a top tier developer, but it is a $40 game, so and I wonder, set your expectations accordingly.
I wonder if the $40 game is out of fear of backlash or because that's what they believe. Like, I could see this being, again, just going off of what we've seen. The environments never really change. It's always in the swampy area, which maybe that's an intentional obfuscation, and there's going to be more areas later. But like maybe it's a 5-hour game, which is fine at $40. But I wonder if that's what they did. I don't know. Because they said in the trailer, it's like there's. I think they even said specifically there's like 4 different bosses or big guys, and I just don't see this having much more to it. Like we haven't seen any other characters, anything like that. It's just the big catfish dude. Great. Yeah. And then it's gonna be her, and that's cool. But I don't know.
Yeah, I would admit. Like,
wait for reviews.
Just like Ken, I bet you this is like a 15 to 20 hour game. Like,
I hope so.
Somewhere in that vein. But again, it's coming soon, so I mean we're gonna know a lot about it very quickly here. So we can move on to the third game, Clear Obscura Expedition 33 from Sandfall Interactive. This is coming immediately after South of Midnight, April 24th of this year. And I'm going to drop a bomb on John here about the game.
What?
And I'm going to gauge his reaction. Clear Obscura Expedition 33 is a $50 game.
Is it really?
It is.
Okay.
Okay.
Why?
What do you think about that?
I don't like it, honestly.
You don't like it? Oh, okay.
No. Why does that to me that shows non-confidence?
You think that's what that shows?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like what's the reason for doing that?
They are referring to themselves as an indie studio, and that this project is about 25 hours to complete. Completionist 30 plus. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean I think the game, while it looks like it stands with a Persona game and a Final Fantasy game that it obviously draws the comparison to, I think that this game is going to be smaller in scope than you think.
Well, and we kind of, in the trailer, saw that a little bit, I think. One of the best parts of the trailer was when they kind of zoomed out and you saw the big balloon character as like the airship and the world map. And it did seem a little, small's not the right word, but compact probably.
Yeah.
So I get that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't really like the idea that like, well, this is just a 30-hour game. We're only going to charge you 50. It's like, dude, I don't care if it's The Last of Us 1 is 10 hours and it's perfect. I would pay $150 for that if, not ahead of playing it, but like, I don't know, like, I don't trust companies to do things for the betterment of me. And maybe they are. Maybe they're just like, the very French team, and maybe they're just like, we're doing this because we don't believe in capitalism, or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know why you would do that. It just seems like it has all the bells and whistles of a full-fledged AAA game. The graphics are there. You have Andy Serkis. You have Ben Starr. You have, a brand new IP that people are excited about. Like, it's cool. Like, great. I don't want to pay more money, but I don't know.
Wow, I'm kind of taken aback because I've been holding this. I didn't want to tell you when I heard this because I was kind of shocked myself.
Yeah.
But I thought that you would have liked this. Like, this is kind of the game that we kind of talk about. When you're talking about, I don't want to play a Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because it's bloated and large, and it's going to take me 70 hours just to complete the main story.
But I think you're confusing something. It's more of a stance thing. I don't like the idea that we live in this world where everything has to be bigger and better and everything has to be amazing and but it has to stay $70. If you go more than that, if we explore the prices beyond that, you're fucking ripping us off. But give me 250 hours of content, please. And it's like, I feel like that should be, I don't know.
I feel like I should have. So we had a topic that I was going to bring about Grand Theft Auto being more than 70, and we're going to can it. Now we have to talk about it next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting that this is sparking that similar discussion.
I hate it when people are like, well, yeah, it's good, but it's only 8 hours. It's like, okay, but were those 8 hours good? Did you enjoy those 8 hours? Because you'll go see a movie for an hour and a half and spend $20 at a movie theater and not complain about it.
And I want to revisit this because I don't want to talk entirely about the price tag.
Yeah.
Because the game's not out. Once the game's out and all the exact information about this game is out there, we can get into is the price justified,
sure,
or not. But yeah, okay.
God, I got to remember sometimes that I do a podcast and I put my voice on onto the internet and everybody's be like, "What, you want us to pay more? Fuck you, John." So I get that sounds stupid. I don't know.
No, like I said, we'll talk more about game pricing next week because like I said, I want to talk about Grand Theft Auto,
yeah,
and the potential of that game costing more, which IGN explored last week. But yeah, okay, let's move away from the price.
Sure.
I will just say for me personally, I mean, it's higher on my radar being a obviously a more affordable, but I'm still waiting for reviews, of course. But but the $50 shorter game is like, okay, I'll take that.
I like the idea of it being shorter. That's what I want to make sure I'm not misconstruing. Being shorter and less bloated is great, and paying less is great. I just don't know why you would do that. Why would you do that?
You are right. When all the signs are there that this is a AAA game with a AAA cast and AAA production values, you would think more. But, yeah, like I said, we'll explore when the game is out there in reviews and maybe one of us gets our hands on it. And I don't know if it's getting a physical edition either. That might also maybe play a little bit into this or not. But anyway, we saw the game. As you mentioned, we saw that it has a Final Fantasy-esque world map, a kind of a globe where the world is zoomed out and you either walk or traverse using a giant balloon man.
Yep.
The character designs are pretty fantastic. We actually saw another party member who can take the form of enemies and use attacks as well, on top of the other 4 party members we saw in the original looks that we've had before this. But were there any more takeaways? They showed like a crazy amount of customization as far as like attributes you can attach to your character.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising.
It was a huge page. Like, it looked intimidating.
Yeah. No, I want to highlight again, the character designs are amazing. There's this part where they showed the character with he's got like I don't even know how you describe him, the dude that can change into other characters.
Yeah, he's like a monkey.
Like a monkey, but he has like almost like a poster for a face.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. But, and then I don't know if it's his type of character or creature that you go into a village of, but there's a whole bunch of them. They all have crazy looking hair and other stuff too. It might be the airship guy, I'm not sure. But so anytime you have character design that's amazing, and it means your enemies are going to be amazing, it means your boss fights are going to be amazing, that's all awesome. It looks very clean. I love the way that the art aesthetic of when you start to fly around the map, it almost has like a diorama look to it, but super, super clean. I love the idea of the overall narrative. The painter idea is a super dope concept. I made this joke to you, but I do want to see an idea where the expeditions continuously fail until there's just a bunch of 6-year-olds running around, and that's just a hilarious concept to me. There's this creature, she's killing us. What do we do? I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting like a roguelike idea, right? Like if it was a roguelike and every failed run, you were just
it's like the opposite of Sifu.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I fully expect to play this. I fully expect to like it, but it's also a kind of game where particulars will bug me and I can't so for instance, I like pure turn-based combat, Final Fantasy X style, where I can take all the time in the world that I want to plan my shit. I don't know if they've said that this is like that or not, or if it's like more active time like Final Fantasy VII, where there's I don't like feeling rushed. It's a very minor thing, but that I'm in a minor thing bug me mode.
Right.
But no, I think it's been a long time since I can remember a game that seems this hype from a brand new team that's not just trying to do like, oh, we're the guys that made Shovel Knight and we're going to go make our own little side scroll. It's like, oh, this is like a bunch of guys that are like really taking their shot. And yeah, you got Andy Serkis. Why is it $50? I don't understand. No, but it looks great. Looks great, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, they have yet to show a reason why not to get it, They're just other than, they're unproven, but holy cow, for your first game, pretty impressive. All right, that led us to our final game, Doom the Dark Ages, coming May 15th of this year from id Software.
It looks so good.
Yeah, I was going to say, John, if you just want to take the lead on this, because you are extremely horny for this game, as you just heard.
Yeah. So, I love the way that they talked about this game. So, for people who have played Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, but more specifically Doom Eternal, apparently the way that they were trying to design the movement and combat of that game is basically if the Doom Slayer was like a fighter jet, where he can fly into the air, he can dash in the air, he's got a grappling hook, he's mobile, he's shooting all over the place, and you're flying all over the place, and it was incredibly fun. This game, they described the Doom Slayer as effectively like an iron tank. And I love that description. And then when you started seeing all the gameplay, and it's much more grounded, and it seems like, they're taking a lot of the old school aesthetics, but modernizing it with just the most badass type of medieval looking areas and stuff. I think this game is going to be a Power Fantasy's wet dream. And not only just kind of relying on their laurels of like, yeah, we like the hardcore, combat with glory kills and managing your different inventory systems. We're like, look, we're also going to let you fly a dragon. And not only can you, I think we see a lot of that kind of stuff in trailers and we go, cool, there's like one mission with the dragon, or maybe you use that in a part of a fight.
Right.
They're like, no. This is like, there's going to be their own mini bosses with this thing. There's going to be different objectives to do with this thing. And not only that, Nick, we're going to basically go Attack on Titan style, and you can basically control a 100-foot demon that's wrecking another 100-foot demon like you're in your own kaiju battle. And that also has its own side stuff, too. They've kicked multiplayer. They've said this is the most robust campaign they've ever done. They've ditched the idea of putting the story in the codex, which is always annoying to me. It's like I don't want, especially in a game like Doom, it's like I'm shooting things. I'm sorry.
Right.
And they're going to kind of go to a more cutscene thing. Could maybe not be a good idea. I don't know. Sometimes with Doom games, I might just want to just let me get back to what I'm doing. I don't care about the struggles of hell versus the real, like whatever. What could you really do?
Right.
But from a pure gameplay, the way it looks, id being who they are, this game's going to run beautifully. It's not going to have any chugging issues or anything like that. I am just very, very stoked that this is coming to PS5 because, if, like I said at the top of the show, if this was Xbox exclusive, I would feel real sad. But I fully expect this game to kick ass. Slight spoilers for a future topic. This was I had the first pick in the Video Game Fantasy League. I chose this number 1. Grand Theft Auto 6 does exist, but I wasn't as confident in the date. But I think this game is just going to. I don't see how anybody's going to play this and be like, yeah, it's an 8. Unless if you just are not into this.
Right.
It's going to do everything well. And talking about crazy things too, like how you have the shield saw now, right? And it's shield that has a chainsaw on the outer edges of it, and then you have the ability to dash into other people to deflect things, and it's all with one button press, and you're like, well, okay, how's that going to work? But it's again, I trust id so much with the way that they program their games. It's going to work beautifully. It's going to do what it needs to do. So I could not be more excited for what this game is going to be. And I fully expect it to be one of my favorite games of the year for sure.
Yeah, I think, we always do a best weapon of the year. 100% I believe the shield will end up on there because, as you mentioned, it's it being contextual, being able to parry, just be a shield, of course, and then you can throw it around like Captain America and then use it. You also get to use it in some of your traversal abilities, as we saw in the showcases.
It's like Kratos' axe, kind of.
Yeah, yeah. So it's this universal tool that's gonna be used for all kinds of things, and it looks great. It looks great
or that gun that shreds skulls for ammo. That could be in the best. There's gonna be 3 candidates from this game at least.
But and then also they say there'll be some linear levels in this game, but they show off just a battlefield. One of their key missions is defending this city, and it's just a giant battlefield with tons of secrets to find and explore, and optional bosses, as John mentioned, with the dragon. Those will be here. And
you can kind of tackle them in different orders.
Yeah. There's no there's no set waypoints. It's having these moments to explore, which I've always appreciated in games like Naughty Dog always does it, right? The Last of Us Part 2 or Uncharted 4, the sections where you're just free to roam the area and find hidden secrets. They're just enjoyable and just keep the game fresh from a pacing standpoint. You're just not going balls to the wall straight ahead. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah, I'm just watching. Dude, I just forgot about the flail that you throw out and start.
The table we're sitting at is rising on John's side.
Shut up.
It's really weird. I think all of our equipment's gonna slide off eventually.
That just
here.
means I'm packing.
I mean, obviously this was the game that we went into this with the most confidence, right? It's not. there was no way this was going to be bad, but I think you're right. They explained their philosophy here, and they showed it off. And
you can tell they're passionate individuals.
Right,
always
right.
a good thing.
And just the one thing I got to ask you, John, is how you feel about the soundtrack going in. Are you confident in that? Because Mick Gordon, who had done the soundtrack for the previous 2 games, is not here. Do you think they'll do a good job of bringing a musician you've brought to this show?
Yeah, it is my biggest, and so it's not that big, but it's definitely the biggest black mark against the game. And it's not a black mark against the game. It just sucks kind of how Mick Gordon and id seem to have separated, where there's just issues. But I do expect them to continue it forward. I mean, no shade towards Mick Gordon. He is incredible at what he does. He's probably the best at what he does. But you can just get some heavy riffs in there, and you'll find some people. There's a lot of people.
Yeah,
I really like, heavy metal and big Slipknot fan. So they'll figure it out.
Yeah, Mick Gordon set the tone. People just they'll come up with their own style, but it'll be in that tone of Doom. So I'm going to assume that Doom was your game of the show.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with you. It just, you can't argue with that. It's just it's the third game in a trilogy. They're just perfecting perfection. at this point.
Well, then let me. Are you going to play it?
Yeah, I want to play it.
Are you going to play Eternal?
No. Uh-oh.
Okay, fair enough. It's fine. It's fine. If any, it doesn't matter from a story or anything like that. Just like if anything, just to see the difference between like the fighter jet, quote unquote, and the tank.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
And this is
maybe it'll probably come free at some point too.
Yeah, sure do.
So,
but it's also a prequel. So Doom: The Dark Ages is.
Yeah.
So you don't really need to play it.
I'm trying to think of any other thing from that trailer, but yeah, God.
But all right, let's wrap it up again. I think just to reiterate the point we said at the beginning of the year with our most anticipated that the year of Microsoft as a publisher and for Game Pass is just astonishing. It is. I mean, you're talking just a straight month of 3 of these games releasing and just
yeah, it's gonna be weird. Like I've never disliked Microsoft as a company. But I have always been a PlayStation guy. Is Microsoft about to be my favorite publisher on PlayStation?
They're going to make a case for it in the first 6 months,
Jesus.
that's for sure. As we mentioned with Avowed and Indiana
Yeah.
Jones coming out
I'm all of
on
a sudden
PlayStation.
super hyped for Avowed too.
Right.
Like if you haven't seen any of the gameplay trailers, it looks like a completely different game than what they first showed off.
Yeah, so it seems like Microsoft is probably going to finally break that dry spell of having a game at the Game Awards for Game of the Year. There's no way they don't.
There's no way Doom doesn't get nominated. I mean, maybe.
I mean, you didn't predict it when you did your 6. Do you
I
feel
didn't.
bad about that?
Yeah, it's fine. I don't care. Whatever. Listen, if listeners and you think that I put a crazy amount of thought into any of that stuff, I got bad news for you, buddy. Sometimes I just want to
Walking it back.
Sometimes I just want to.
I don't
get a
think you
rise
should
out
be
of
allowed to play it now because you think it could be Game of the Year.
You watch me.
All right, so
That might be a me call off a work day.
Yeah,
That might be.
yeah, you should.
Yeah.
But just again, a phenomenal show. Again, to have more games filling out, especially the first half of the year. Thank you.
Yeah, Nick was getting worried.
Yeah, just more and more.
I have backlogs. Nick doesn't.
Yeah. I'll just be playing Marvel Rivals for 3 months, and I don't think I can handle that. So, more games, please. Microsoft just again, they're gonna have that banger year. But all right, let's move on to our next topic.
Real quick, did you see the one game that's not coming to Game Pass this year? Did you see it? It has the last 3 years, but not this year. No streaming services at all, or subscription services.
The show?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know
First
that.
time there's not going to be on any subscription services. PS5 only. So it's kind of like, all right, sick. Kind of go with that.
Oh, well, now you just tricked my brain in here. So,
Sorry.
Unlike other showcases, this one actually, at the end of these trailers, said PlayStation 5 in them. In an Xbox showcase, they're advertising that the games are coming to PlayStation.
They want that money.
So it's just, again, we're not going to talk about the Phil Spencer interviews, but yeah, they're just
Satya has
doubling
full
down.
control right now, and I think it's going to it's going to be good for everybody. I think this is the move that will make Microsoft the most amount of money. They will get to keep making games. We'll get to keep playing games. Everybody will win this way.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
hell yeah.
From one of your most anticipated games getting a great showcase to one of your most anticipated games going in the complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
Sean, do you want to share some news?
Sure, Nick. I would love to. Yeah, you had to text me at like 10 o'clock at night, like the only time of the day that I'm happy and have time to myself. I get a little text from Nicholas over here.
I said I was sorry.
I know. You were just sharing the news. Don't shoot the messenger type stuff. But we got an update. So there's like 4 games I'm excited about to play. Doom at Dark Ages is not one of them. But like Hades 2,
Silksong,
Windblown, and Earthblade was one of the ones that I was extremely excited to play. This is from Extremely OK Games, makers of Game of the Year nominated Celeste, which was just strictly a platforming game with a weirdly good story, and you know how I feel about tight controls, had that to a T. So this seemed to be a follow-up to that, not a sequel, but a follow-up in the sense that we're going to do that, but with combat now. And yeah, and it's going to be a Metroidvania. Yeah, that's all those things I like. Unfortunately, over the past week, we got a post on their website called the Final Earthblade Update. and we'll just read a little bit of it. But basically what's happened is Earthblade is canceled officially. It is no more. It will not be coming back. The team made the hard decision to do that. Basically what happened was, this is from the final update post itself. Earlier this year, a fracture began forming in the team. Specifically, this was between us, Noel and I, and Pedro, a founding member of Extremely OK Games, longtime friend and collaborator and art director of Earthblade and Pixel UI artist on Celeste and Towerfall. The conflict centered around a disagreement between the IP rights of Celeste, which we won't be detailing publicly. This was obviously a very difficult and heartbreaking process. We eventually reached a resolution, but both parties also agreed in the end that we should go our separate ways. Pedro is now working on his game Neverway, which you should check out. We've played it, and it's very promising. It goes on to kind of just talk about like more of the pain and blah, 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 blah. But this one hurts, Nick. It hurts for a lot of reasons. Just, I mean, at the end of the day, of course, I want to play the game, but like this wasn't the result of, you know, some greedy corporate entity that wanted to put microtransactions in the game, or, you know, a boogeyman or political strife that seems to plague everything nowadays.
Extremely OK is now making a live service game.
Right. Anything. It was nothing like that. It was simply a disagreement between people, right? People that were probably at one point very close friends, people that accepted many, many awards together on the stage for Celeste. Like I mentioned, it got nominated for Game of the Year. This wasn't a slouch indie game. This was like one of those first indie games, I think, that broke through into the Game of the Year nominations where you're like, oh shit, there could be a presence there, right? We've seen Balatro and we've seen Animal World didn't get Game of the Year, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see that trend continuing, and I expected Earthblade to be there. So it's just a bummer. It wasn't meant to be. You know, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know the private life of these individuals, but like, get it together. Like, can we all be friends? Can't we just realize that like we can move past our differences? But yeah, I don't really have a lot of talking points on it, but it hurts me deeply.
Yeah, as John led into this, you know, you probably can count his most anticipated games on one hand. He's very particular about the games that he likes, and so when one of those games is outright canceled, which is very rare again for indie games, you know,
really games in
boy, if Silk Song's canceled, I
know. That's I'm looking at that one right now.
John is, we got to look out for him, but
that's why I'm getting the platinum, so they'll see that my NP Sparty 15 got the platinum, and we have to finish.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's just a bummer. It's again, like, especially premier indie studios, there's just not a lot of them, and when they do, and then they don't release games at a very quick pace at all, you know.
Yeah, it's more about it's like just as much about the opportunity cost too, because like, I mean, they announced this in 2021. I didn't realize that. Like, time goes by so fast now. Like, I would have sworn they announced this in 2023 or something.
Right,
and it's like, oh, okay, but that's 4 years in an indie game, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the Game Awards of Dreams, Hades 2, and of that that it was shown at that.
Well, and another thing, like too, I just popped in my head. It's like, you know, they had their separation, right, disagreement, but like Pedro leaving the team wasn't the reason it got canceled. They just like he was so important to the work that was being done that they literally couldn't handle the workload at that point.
Right.
So it's like, God damn, man, like it hurts. You know, I know there's not probably a lot of people out there that were like had this towards the top of their list, but like for those who played Celeste and liked it, I guarantee you they did.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I'm a sad boy.
I know.
But I did name my fantasy league team, thanks to Nicholas over here, Extremely Not Okay Game. I think it was the day or maybe the day after that this news broke, and I named my team that. So
it's all right.
That's all I got to say about that, Nick. We'll keep it sweet, short and sweet. R.I.P. Earthblade. I really thought you were going to be amazing. Yeah. And you know, maybe the team rallies. You know, they hire up a little bit, and it's not Earthblade, but it's something in that vein, right? If the guy that left is the artist, not saying artist is not important, but what I value, right, in most about these games is the way they feel and play and things like that. So hopefully they can get back on their feet, give us something awesome and dope, and hopefully 2029, I don't know.
Yeah.
2028, we'll see.
All right, let's move on to a listener email. Again, you can email in, and we'll read it on this very show. That email address is betweenthejoysticks@gmail.com. Again, our regular, I don't know,
Most frequent writer-inner.
Yeah, writer-in doesn't sound
No,
good to me. But
we don't do words good. Probably should.
But yeah, one of our top listeners,
There you go.
Freddie B, is writing in. Hey guys, enjoyed last week's episode and all the news that came out. One thing that came out after the show was the news about Veilguard reaching 1.5 million players. EA didn't actually disclose total sales, but judging by the news, it's possible that it sold less than 1 million copies. This is the end of BioWare, isn't it? It seems like Veilguard is a total failure in terms of sales. I'd be curious to see what you guys think. BioWare has now had 3 consecutive game failures in terms of sales. Other studios have closed for less. Are these sales reports? I know they aren't true sales reports. Surprising to you guys? And then, in funny fashion, right when he wrote this in, we got an update from BioWare about the studio update.
We heard Freddie B's talking shit.
Yeah. They saw Freddie B wrote in, even though they haven't heard the episode, they knew, and then they were like, "Oh, we got to shift this studio." So yeah, we got an update on BioWare from Gary McKay, the general manager there, and he goes, "Hello, everyone. Today we turn towards the future and preparing for the next chapter in BioWare's story. As we announced in August 2023, we are changing how we build games to meet the needs of our upcoming projects and hold ourselves to the highest quality standards. Now that the Dragon Age The Veilguard has been released, a core team at BioWare is developing the next Mass Effect game under the leadership of veterans from the original trilogy. In keeping with our fierce commitment to innovating during the development and delivery of Mass Effect, we have challenged ourselves to think deeply about delivering the best experience to our fans. We are taking this opportunity between full development cycles to reimagine how we work at BioWare. Given this stage of development, we don't require support from the full studio. We have incredible talent here at BioWare, and so we have worked diligently over the past few months to match many of our colleagues with other teams at EA that had open roles that were a strong fit. Today's news will see BioWare become a more agile, focused studio that produces unforgettable RPGs. We appreciate your support as we build a new future for BioWare."
Okay. So
Eat
that, Freddie. Just kidding.
I guess let's talk about this restructuring here. This is as Freddie alluded to, it does sound like the Veilguard was not a financial powerhouse, not selling a lot of copies, or they would be touting as much.
Yeah, they'd be like, "We're scaling up."
And we do know that the creative director for Veilguard has already left the studio even before this. And yeah, now it sounds like the team is getting smaller and more focused. Mm-hmm. And while other employees work on other projects, and I think that's pretty normal, especially if you're in a role that can work on pretty much any game like QA or whatnot. I know EA really wants the next Battlefield to be a monumental success. We know that there's an Iron Man game coming from Motive, and another Captain America game, or is it Black Panther? A Black Panther game coming from.
You're asking.
No, the Captain America Black Panther game is from Amy Hennig's team. They're also working on a Black Panther game, and we know that there's a Star Wars game coming, another Jedi Survivor game or Jedi game. So EA has a lot of games in the fire.
Yeah.
So I don't know to take this as like doom and gloom at BioWare, but it does seem with this announcement that they're definitely going to take lessons learned from Dragon Age, the Veilguard's release, and make sure that Mass Effect is everything you want it to be. Because, yeah, as you said, Freddie, I don't think they're lucky to have survived this long. I mean, not just 3 games in a row with, the first 2 critical failures. I don't remember how well Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda sold. But then this one, which was critically okay in 81, but it sounds like, financially not as successful. But
so Andromeda was 5 million. What was the other game? Anthem.
5. Wow. So, it's hard to say. And I know even Dragon Age Veilguard got rebooted. It was more of a live service game. Shocker. And then got rebooted into a single player game that we now know of. So, Yeah, I mean, BioWare is at least going to get one more shot to your question. That's for sure.
Yep.
I mean, this says that as much, so we know at least Mass Effect 4 is coming.
That's what they're hanging all of their chips on that game. I mean, if you just kind of look at the head count of BioWare over the years, they had 800 employees in 2010, 320 employees in 2019, and we know they also laid off another 50 employees in 2023. So there's no official number, but it's probably sitting in that 250, 300 range. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine, that's just the direction that the higher-ups at EA want them to pursue is like, look, like if these games aren't going to sell a crazy amount of money, we need to make you, as tight as possible, reduce the employees as much as possible. Unfortunately, every single business, that is the number one cost of a business. And if they can continue to be efficient and agile, as they said, and can make Mass Effect land as 1, 2, or 3 did, it doesn't need to be that high, but at least a marginal step up from Andromeda. That is still a franchise that I think can attract people based on name alone. I unfortunately don't think Dragon Age is.
I was going to ask about that because while Dragon Age Inquisition did sell I think 12 million copies, Game of the Year winner, it's hard. That franchise has always been so hard to read, and
it was also 11 years ago. And then this game has been in development for probably close to 10 years. You mentioned it get rebooted, right? So when they're looking at their balance sheets and their profits and margins and things, they're going to look at Dragon Age and be like, well, you guys spent a ridiculous amount of money on budget and we didn't get any of that back. Okay, let's reduce the head count because BioWare still, if they can regain their magic, and I feel like I've been saying that for 15 years now, they fill a very specific void in the EA portfolio that the other ones don't quite get there. Right. So I think there is value for them, but they're going to make sure that there's nothing left in the tank for Mass Effect before they kick the can on them, because that is the one remaining franchise, I think. I mean, you could make a case for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic to try and come back, but they don't want to have to pay for the licensing fees for all that. And they're probably just like, look, we have Mass Effect, we've announced it. People would be devastated. I don't really know if they care about that, but they would be if we announced that that's getting canceled or moving it to a different team and trying to restart. They don't want to restart again, right? They already restarted with Dragon Age. They don't want to do that again, but it might just make more sense to eat the cost for the next couple of years. I don't know. When do you think that they have an internal release date for Mass Effect 4? When do you think they have to have some sort of? I would
say probably 4 years from the release date of Veilguard. I would say is probably your most reasonable, right? 2028.
So 2028, right? You got 250 employees. You staff them for 3 years. EA, they're lucky that they have Daddy EA over here to just they can take all the money they get from FIFA and Madden and just cover all that. But I feel like I've also been saying they get one more shot for a while now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kept rambling, but I don't know.
They're getting another shot, and I try not to read too much into this because studios restructure all the time. When a project when a game comes out, that's probably when the staff of any studio is at its highest as far as employees and contractors and QA just trying to get that game out the door, and then the game comes out, and then they readjust as other people move because your project is it's not in full steam, it's not in full production. It's in the idea phase.
Yeah.
So I don't want to read too much into that, but what do you think about Veilguard? What do you think is it the narratives that have been behind that game from the reveal at the Xbox showcase last year of its new art style? Obviously, it's I'm gonna even talk about this, the wokeness of this one.
I know, but we have to, Nick. This is our job.
The series always being woke.
Yep.
And then I always see the narrative of the bad writing. There must be some clips out there of specific scenes. I don't remember being oh, the writing's terrible for this, but
no, but people can find one line and that makes up the entire
right.
10,000
So
word
I see a lot of that, but I don't see examples. So I don't want to speak to that, but I do see every comment on this story and
taking a barf is the only one that I can remember.
Yeah.
Where it's when you have to apologize for using somebody's pronouns incorrectly.
Right.
It's that's the one that I see people.
And that's one scene in the 70-hour game.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any insights? Yeah, is it the 11-year wait? Is it the Dragon Age IP in 2024 after Cyberpunk and Witcher and Baldur's Gate being you just can't make, as what I compared the game to is Mass Effect or Dragon Effect 4. It's basically a sequel to Mass Effect 3, and all the ideas from that are just here, but in fantasy form.
I mean, no insight, obviously. I don't have any insight to anything.
Right.
But what I am wagering is I think we live in an era more than ever where people, and I am one of these people, and you're one of these people, where it's like, well, let me see how it reviews. And when you have a property that you're not sold on immediately, that number needs to go a little bit higher and a little bit higher and a little bit higher. And Dragon Age Inquisition was coming off of Dragon Age 2, right? Or Origin. Okay, yeah, and people really like that. So you're already starting a little bit high. Then it wins Game of the Year, and so it's going to just keep going. But if you're starting at a point where people kind of doubt you and go, well, let me see, and then it comes out and it's very middling or it doesn't blow people away, you're not going to pull that trigger when you have Fortnite, when you have Marvel Rivals, when you have these other games, and that's why I think Mass Effect still has that, despite 3 having its issues. I think that gets blown out way over proportion than what it actually is. But I don't think there was anybody that was bought into the idea of Dragon Age just based on the name Dragon Age anymore after 11 years. And then you especially start to see the kiddie aesthetics, right? Because from what I know, I never played Dragon Age 2. That was a darker, grounded, more one of those. And you saw it with the shift between Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. You see that kind of stuff where people just write it off immediately because it's like, it doesn't look like the thing I know and love. It's like, yeah, I get that, but then when it gets backed up with like 81s and 79s and 82s, it's just like, right. All right, I'll find something else.
I think when a game comes out of the gate and has an art style that is controversial, the Saints Row reboot, Diablo 3, another one where it's tonally and artistically a lot different than what you were expecting. I think that turns people off right out of the gate. And when you're talking about established franchises, especially, we'll take a Stellar Blade 81, but a Dragon Age 4 81, that's the series is just getting worse, and
then you add in other elements like the time thing, right? Like, I'll play a 15-hour 81, but I'm not gonna play a 70-hour 81. Like I'm just not gonna do it. And I don't think there's, like, anecdotally, I guarantee the people we work with at work, half of them would be excited about another Mass Effect. Just whatever. Just throw that out there. I don't think there was a single person that was like, "Oh, new Dragon Age, sick!" Like, it's just not the same level.
Yeah, that's definitely how the two franchises have always been. I mean, Mass Effect, like you said, outside of KOTOR, is the BioWare franchise. So I
would say even including KOTOR, Mass Effect's the one.
Yeah, I would say that too. But as far as we'll see. I mean, but they get one. This is it.
This is it.
And then BioWare's no more if the game is not up to their standards. But we'll see. I mean, they got a lot of work to do because, as I mentioned, Dragon Age: The Veilguard is just building on a 2012 video game, Mass Effect 3. So they got to do a lot more. There's more competition out there. Exodus is coming, and that's going to challenge the Mass Effect sci-fi story-driven RPG, and I'm sure there'll be more of them. Intergalactic, there's a lot out there that are going to be in your space doing your thing, and you gotta.
Are they just the writing team version of? Crap! I just lost it. Shit. Well, anyway, sorry.
So and when you're talking 2028, and that's and compared to other fantasy RPGs, CD Projekt Red will probably have Witcher 4 out. Will you be better?
They're the writing version of Bethesda, where Bethesda got lapped by CD Projekt Red. It's like, look, man, you guys got to do better. I'm sorry.
Right? Yeah. Same. Yeah, and John and I have no interest in Starfield, even if it comes to PlayStation, because it's that series is old.
That engine is just not good anymore.
Yeah, not the series. Yeah, the engine is old. The way quests and dialogue work is old school. There are people doing it 1,000 times better.
Part of the reason why South of Midnight had a little, like, not a little, but like, okay, I've seen this so
Right.
many times,
Right.
guys. So many times.
Right. So, yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be a minute before we hear from BioWare again.
Yeah.
So, buckle up. But yeah, good question, Freddie. And like I said, incredibly well timed. You couldn't have written it in.
Who do you know, Freddie?
Yeah.
Are you Nate the Hate? Is that you?
Yeah. Do you work at BioWare? You never said where
God,
you
would
work.
that be sick if we had somebody listen to the show that worked at one of these companies? Oh my God.
But yeah, I'm still excited. Like I said, I finished Dragon Age of Veilguard. I thought it was a competent game. It just, again, it needs to do more.
Yep.
That's all. So, all right. Cool. Final topic.
All right. So, Nick and I, we've mentioned it on the show every once in a while. We look forward to this time of year because it's the start of our video game fantasy league, and I like to follow sports. Nick kind of follows sports, but like we're definitely not fantasy football people. Like that is not what we want to do. So kind of filling in the little void that it seems like every other man in this country likes to do at that time of year. We decide that us and a couple other guys at work, we're gonna just basically do fantasycritic.games is the website we use, where you can draft games based on the Metacritic score or the OpenCritic score, and then you get points on how they do, right? So 70 is the baseline. Any single review score above 70 gets you 1 point. If it exceeds 90, you start to get 2 points, and anything under 70 starts to detract points from you. And so this is the 5th year Nick and I have done it. I have won 3 times. He's gonna get it, guys. He's gonna get there. But we had another.
I've come close so many times.
Yep. Yeah. We had a different winner last year, so my 4-peat was off the table. But I wanted to go through, Nick, and I want to kind of just we did our first draft, so we've each drafted 4 games. We will be able to pick up another 4 throughout the year using a $100 budget that we have to try and fill in our team of 8. And so I wanted to go through just the draft and just, if listeners want to write in and see who they think is going to win based on that, or have any comments or whatever. But I just find this stuff kind of fun because who doesn't love a little competition, So
yeah, and unlike other years, again, as talking about how strong this year is, it was pretty wild. You didn't get stuck.
Right.
You had you draft, there's 7 teams, so you draft 28 games, and it's not like you're like, oh, I don't know what to pick. There's
a couple
nothing
years
left.
past, it's like, I
right.
fucking don't know.
Right. You're really reaching.
So funny story is, we set the order based on a random little Google horse race that we do, right? And so put everybody's name in there, and there's the running joke, because I am the commissioner for the league, that I cheat and that I look at things and I manipulate it. I do not. I know, and everybody knows that too. It's a joke at this point. But we did our little race. My little horsey won, so I got myself first pick. Nick fell to the floor, crumbled on his knees.
A little more backstory. Yeah, John, as you mentioned, he wins. John gets first pick before, so that was one thing. And then we also play with someone who is really hot to get Grand Theft Auto 6 and really wants to be competitive. And last year also was in the. I think he was last.
Yeah.
Last year.
No, second to last. Mark, I think, was still.
All right.
But yeah, doesn't matter.
But
say first names. Relax.
So when you did this, the reason I was on the floor is because right off the bat, your guy was out like way in front, and his was in the back, and I was dying. It was comically the worst outcome it could have been right off the bat, and I just couldn't take it.
I think I hit shuffle 20 times before I hit go. So, but that's what also makes this fun. So, we'll go through. I'll do everybody's 4 games. We can't really do for the first round because then you won't be able to keep it in your head. But my team, titled Extremely Not Okay Games. With the first pick, I got Doom the Dark Ages, number 1 overall pick. I decided not on Grand Theft Auto 6 because I'm not sure if it'll release. Hollow Knight Silksong, again, gotta hope it releases. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, and Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which was the Dotemu side-scroller, much like Shredder's Revenge, Streets of Rage, things like that. Our second draftee, Grand Theft Auto 6, Avowed, Citizen Sleeper 2, Star Wars Vector, which actually comes out in 2 days, and the Talos Principle Reawakened. Third draftee, Monster Hunter Wilds, the number 1 hyped game of the year. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Rift of the Necro Dancer, and Wanderstop. I said Hawaii like you do. God, you're rubbing off on me. Next draftee, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, Dave the Diver in the Jungle, and South of Midnight. Net Easy Win GG, my boy Nick over here. He's got a good draft. He's got a good draft.
Win it.
Yeah, he's got a good one. Ghost of Yote, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach. I think that's... I was talking to other people at work, and they're like, I don't know about that one. I was like, you guys are crazy. You just don't know enough. Judas, his probably risky pick to hope it releases, and then Betrayal. He took Mina the Hollower, which was one of the games that I was really hoping on last year. Sixth here, we got Elden Ring Night Rain, Split Fiction, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, and then Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake. And then our last draftee, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, the Untitled Mario Kart game, Sea of Stars, Throes of the Watchmaker, the DLC, and then Fable coming out later this year. So pretty good list of games.
Yeah, such a good year of games. I know we didn't talk about like Civ 7, but that's another one that's just,
that could be
it's going to be a big deal in just less than a month here. But
and this is all without the April 2nd mega date that's going to hit us. Right. So again, we get to kind of use our money to try and fill in the 4 other slots. But Nick, do you have any opinions on who do you think drafted well, or who you think?
Me, of course.
Oh, of course you. Yeah, of course you did draft really well. I feel like you might have had that sweet spot because, as we mentioned, getting first pick is cool, but like I then got to wait another 12 picks or so before I can get to number 2, where you could get 3 and 8 or something.
Right. Yeah. I'm 5 and 10, I believe. So.
Yeah. So not bad.
Yeah. No, I think everyone's is good. I mean, I have question marks out there about, like Elden Ring Night Rain, right? Like, yeah, they don't miss, From Software doesn't miss, but it's a multiplayer Elden Ring game. That's completely different, or last year everyone got burned on Nintendo. So, Mario Kart might be great, but that's another one that I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like,
I disagree with you on that one. I think
it is what, yeah.
Nintendo launch year, they're gonna go hard. Look at their last launch year.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, everyone. What is the number one game that would get below an 80? It's it's gonna be it's a crapshoot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I didn't think it was funny. I think a lot of people were picking games that they wanted to buy that year. And I think you made that point too, is like, yeah, I want to pick the games that I actually want to play. And that was my strategy going into this too. So, I think the only thing that can hurt anyone is, as we've talked about just in our year preview, is just release dates. Some people drafted heavy and going for games that are coming out. One of the teams has all their games out by March. That's for their first 4, and that's pretty incredible. I don't have a single release date. I'm gonna.
That was you like 2 years ago too, where the Redfall year, where you were like in last place for 9 months, and then you shot up right at the end, but came out, a little short.
I don't. Like I said, there was never one time where I'm like, I don't know what to pick. It was like there are a lot of options to pick.
Right.
Even you got the very first pick, but you also got the very last pick, and you picked Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, and I think that's completely solid. That's
a great
easy
28th pick.
Yeah, that's an easy point. Like in the strategy to go for in the league, as we've seen year over year, is just aim for an 83 average. So you can have mistakes, but I mean, with this list of games, it's like
But it's also what makes a Breath of the Wild or an Astrobot so powerful.
Right.
It's basically 2 games. Because an Astrobot got a 95 last year, so that's an immediate 30 points, right? You get 2 for every point after 90. So, you hope for 1 or 2 of those. But yeah, consistency is king when it comes to this.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, we as we predicted on this show, a 3D Mario's coming. This will stay between you and me, John. I won't say anything, but if a 3D Mario is on the list,
you're throwing all your money at it.
Exactly.
Yep.
You take your budget and you just
empty it.
You try, and I think if there is somebody at that point with $100 still,
You use it.
they'll spend all $100 on it.
Yeah, I know. Well, like, because that's the other, like, we've implemented drops, which I think is fine, but like, I kind of sometimes didn't like that because it made everything more calculated. But like, there's still a little bit of calculations to it. It's like I have a couple just random bids out there just to get some things, but it's like, do I even want to give up $2 right now? Because like, yeah, if Mario does come and I have $98, I will probably get outbid. And I trust myself enough to know the small games in the world where I can just probably pick up some shit for $0 that just other people aren't looking at or not paying attention to.
Right.
Do you think Silk Song's coming out this year?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's been in the draft the last 4 years.
I was about to say, did you try it the first year we did this, or was it the second year that you might have drafted it the first year?
Yeah, I'd have to look at like the history, but
when did Silk Song get announced? 2019. So I maybe you would have pulled the trigger in 2021. I don't know.
Yeah, Silk Song is at least drafted in 2022. So
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I'll get them points this year, hopefully. But yeah, so just a little fun little thing, and like, you know, again, just as we have our podcast and hopefully our listeners continue to grow. I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea of doing multiple leagues where we can do one
it was
with
drafted in 2021.
Was it?
Yep.
Yeah. So that game has been lingering forever.
It was my third pick.
God. It's a good pick. Just really, just really
I was
poorly,
really close in
really
2021
poorly
for it
timed.
coming out. I was really close to it coming out
Thanks,
in 2021.
Team Cherry. But yeah, I mean, like I would not be opposed to the idea of running a between the joysticks league if this is something people like. I don't watch sports, but I follow the shit out of them. I like seeing how players did. I like seeing what their batting averages are. How many points did you score this game? But I won't really watch games. So like, I love the statistical side of it. So it's fun. It causes a little locker room boy ribbing and talking shit and stuff like that, which is always fun.
Yeah, and I wanted you to bring it because you reference it throughout the year, and
Sure do.
I just wanted that point of like, when John goes, "Oh, you drafted this game," or so and so drafted this game, that this is the reference point.
And I do believe if you would like to follow our league, you can go to fantasycritic.games. And then you can follow leagues. Our league is officially titled PlayStation Pals over our last podcast. But if you want to kind of follow along or see where we're at, my name is Extremely Not Okay Games, and Nick's name is NetEasy something GG.
NetEasy Win. GG.
NetEasy Win GG.
Well, John and I's are obviously renames of studios. His being Extremely Okay Games. Mine is NetEase.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So yeah, we'll see where we end up, but yeah, I like my draft too. I think I got a pretty solid one. I think you have a really solid one. I think.
Well, even when we were doing someone traded spots. They were the person who got last place traded for number 2, and it was funny. He got Grand Theft Auto, but then he started regretting it because he saw what the later picks were, and he's like, "Oh man, I could have had two top." I could have had the 7th and 8th pick.
I talked to the tradee, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm glad I traded." So, yeah.
Yeah, such a strong year. Again, that's really what this whole segment really highlights, is just what an incredible year, and just how, I think the points average last year was like the winner had 117 overall, and second place was 102. I think all those numbers are going to be a lot higher this year.
Yeah. Our first place had 116.54, which divided by 8. Yeah, that's not the right math. Yeah, it is, with 14.56 points per game, so 84 and a half average. Yeah. So yeah, if you can get right there, you'll be okay.
Cool. So yeah, again, we might jump in later as we talk about reviews, and John and I are either mad at each other. About it.
I can't play Mean of the Hollow anymore. Thanks.
Yeah.
I am that spiteful.
We'll hear about it, especially obviously when those number one picks start coming through. What is Doom actually going to get we'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, that's. I didn't even need to talk about Doom. If you want to know how much I believe in that game, I drafted it ahead of Grand Theft Auto 6. But yeah, like I said, it's just because it has a concrete date. I didn't want to make a fatal mistake my very first, like the first pick of the thing.
Right, and I just think it'll be Doom like a 92 to Grand Theft Auto's 95, or 94, and then you're talking 4 or 6 points. So,
yep.
Cool. Yeah, but you had the guarantee, so it's worth it. All right. Well, that's it. That's all the things we brought. A lot of Microsoft talk.
Yeah, well.
A lot of news.
I love you, Phil Spencer. I've never said anything bad. Ever.
He just predicted he's going to leave.
He's going to lose his job.
But all right. So that's it. Do we have any teases for next episode?
Yeah. So I visited friend of the show, longtime friend, high school friend of mine, Will. He had Alan Wake 2 and Stanley Parable physical for me to borrow, and I think he said it's his game of the generation. It was your game of the year, or would have been if Persona 5, right?
Yeah,
right. If it was your favorite game of the year, games that came out that year. So excited to finally be able to do that. I'm currently watching just a 1-hour recap video of the first one just to make sure I don't miss any things that I might otherwise. What I'm thinking I'm probably going to do is like bounce around with Hollow Knight when I'm feeling gameplay heavy. When I'm not feeling gameplay heavy, I can do Stanley Parable because it's a quick one anyway. And then maybe get to Alan Wake 2. And then the other game he let me borrow that I just took out of curiosity because it was there, and he has an amazing collection of movies, of games, of books, of everything, and he wasn't playing it. So I was like, well, let me see what Baldur's Gate 3 looks like. I would be incredibly shocked if I ever saw that game through in any point in my life. But there is value to me of like seeing something, knowing what it is, and even just being like, nope, I can forget about you now.
No chance.
I know, but like there is big value because there's a total version of me that Baldur's Gate 3 goes on sale for $20 and I buy it.
Right.
Just because I'm like, well, let me do it. And then I go, yeah.
Game of the year winner.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes sense to have. So it'll be nice to be able to see what all the fuss was about and probably turn it off after 45 minutes. We'll see.
Yeah. I like as listeners know, they know John now. After over 100 episodes of the show, there's just no chance.
I know.
Not a chance.
And also, just for seemingly, we've had a little bit of movie talk lately. It's we got our Best Picture nominations, so I also going to be going through those. I still need to see The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Nickel Boys, Wicked, and I'm Still Here. So got to watch those.
Yeah, interesting thing about Nickel Boys is it's a first-person movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that. I like unique things.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just like a video game. It's just like Doom.
What was that one? Hardcore Henry? Do you remember
Yes,
that?
yeah.
That one looked like I would throw up while watching it, though.
Yeah, that's a fun watch.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just feel like...
That is a video game.
That
is
first-person...
Doom brought to a movie.
And yeah, first-person action movie as opposed to first-person period piece movie.
Right,
so,
yeah.
But no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I had started it, and I'm like, oh, that's what this is? I'm like, oh, okay.
How'd you find it? I thought that wasn't coming to any... I mean, I'm sure it's on Plex, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, like, I saw that wasn't coming to streaming or anything until, like, February 28th.
I don't know.
You got a source? Black market?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a guy in the alley that sells me.
Sells you
he goes
Best Picture nominees.
Yeah. He goes in the theater with a camcorder and records them. They're great quality.
If you watch movies on... kill yourself if you watch cam movies. I'm sorry if any of you do.
But yeah, so it'd probably be a little bit slow. Granted, there's been slight rumors of a state of play for February, but we'll see.
It's true.
I mean, I just want it because I want a release date for Ghost.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
January 3rd, 2026.
What? No, don't no. God no! Please no.
My pick.
I need games now. I needed a game. I need a game in February and March, and it's bumming me out that it doesn't look like that's gonna happen. But yeah. So
yeah,
I'm gonna check out Marvel Rivals. Such a good game. But we did get I will check out High on Life eventually. Now, I don't know if I'll have it by the next show, but it was announced as a PlayStation Plus Essential game. It stars John and I's favorite comedian, Tim Robinson, as one of the weapons. The weapons in this game talk. And so that reason alone is I have to check it out.
God, Tim Robinson's so funny.
Yeah,
so funny.
I
was about to ask, oh man, Avowed isn't coming to PS5? Damn it.
Yeah, not yet. Again, it seems to be.
Well, eventually. Yeah, I mean, Monster Hunter, huge game this month. Civ 7, huge game this month. Assassin's Creed Shadow, big game, but obvious reasons to skip. Yeah, I mean, there's games coming, but it's just they're weirdly missing like pockets of yours.
And Shadow's got pushed to March.
Get it together, Game Rant. Whatever. This was probably
got
published.
that 1 month delay because
this was published in September.
Japanese rooftops are weird.
Is that what?
Yeah, the platforming on rooftops wasn't solid, so they.
Game is looking pretty good though.
Yeah.
But if we didn't have Ghost, anyway.
All right. Let's end the show.
Yeah, let's end the show.
Okay.
All right, dude.
That.
Yeah.
I drafted poorly.
No.
I've been wanting to feature the soundtrack to Life is Strange for a minute now, and just seems other songs kept pushing up. But Life is Strange, Double Exposure has a great original soundtrack, and why one of the other reasons I'm excited for Grand Theft Auto 6 is getting exposed to licensed music and mixtape, because I always like to grow my Spotify playlist. This song is called Illusion, and again from Life is Strange Double Exposure by Tessa Rose Jackson, and is a great song that kind of encapsulates the game. So that's it for the show. We love you. Thank you for listening as always. Again, please write in. Please review us on your platform of choice. And of course, you can always expect us every week, every Wednesday.
Sometimes. Depends on my schedule.
So far, so good.
Yep.
But we'll see. We'll let you know. So again, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Later, y'all.